You're listening to Jim Carty, Blues and Beyond, and the Patch newspaper in Connecticut. I'm here with Vanessa Collier. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. You're looking great. I'm assuming that life is treating you well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain, It's
Good,
it's
good,
quite a life.
good. It is. It's hectic. I've been on the road. I went on the road with Big Jack Johnson and Larry McRae myself. So,
Yeah. So you
I,
know.
yeah, drumming, yeah, dragging two super reverbs at a time, and
Yeah.
it keeps you in
Yeah.
shape. I'm not in that kind of shape anymore. I'm an old man now.
It pays to be a roadie, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So rumor has it you're coming to the Northeast and you're coming to my neck of the woods at the Katharine Hepburn Theater on May
Yes.
7th, which I'm super excited to see you.
Yes.
And you're touring behind your new record and the new record, Do It My Own Way. Uh,
hmm
I
You
was
got it.
listening to the tracks over the last several days. Great stuff. And
Thank
then
you.
um, I wanted to talk about how you put it together in the studio versus your road band. I was kind of shocked about something I read about how you put together the record, uh,
Mm.
how many instruments you played, and you did all the arranging and the writing and production and everything. And then I was like, you know what? She went to Berkeley. I've seen her on stage. I know how talented you are. I shouldn't be really so shocked, but um, I was especially shocked about you playing all the guitars because I've seen you with Noe Soha, Chris Vitarello, Laura Chavez, some of the best guitarists out there in the business,
Yeah.
but you sounded great
Thank
doing the
you.
guitar work yourself, which I've never seen on stage. So I was really happily surprised.
Thank you.
Tell me about that process.
Yeah, I think I think, I've always kind of started to write songs on guitar, but
Hmm.
I do not count myself a guitar player. I'm
Right.
definitely in the process and always learning.
I think
And
any guitarist will tell you that, though, don't you think?
it's very true. I have Arthur Nielsen, who's from Shamika's band. She's like, or he says, like, stop, like you are a guitar player. You just
Yeah,
are. Just accept it. Put it in your tagline.
definitely.
Um, So yeah, this record kind of came about. I hadn't written anything since 2020.
Yeah.
Because the next record that I put out was a live record, which was basically just a culmination of like my favorites, the fan favorites,
Hmm.
all on a record that had changed so much over my 9, 10 years in the business at that point.
Right,
Uh,
right.
and this one, I kind of sat down and started writing it, and some came out on guitar, some came out on bass, some came out, playing saxophone. And most of them were on guitar. Um, but there were parts in there that especially like the resonator, the slide stuff, that Laura doesn't play slide, and so
Right.
everything else on the record is her. But I added the slide just because that's how I heard the song come together in my
Yeah.
head.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I started doing, is as being a little less fearful of like, I'm not a guitar player, and like, nah, this is like a part on a record. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's what I hear on the song, so and in the way that only I can play it. So I just kind of did
I thought the playing
it.
was great, especially the
Thank
slide
you.
and the resonator.
Thank you.
I was really surprised at how beautiful it was, and you attack tunes with different tempos and vibes, and I wouldn't characterize this your typical blues record that comes across my desk.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
not that it isn't in the blues vein by any
Sure.
stretch, but
Sure.
there's nothing banal and mundane about it. It's
Mm,
the music is varied and beautiful, and the way you approach it on each tune, and
thank you.
the topics that you broach are really, I think, close to your heart as well. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think maybe you were talking about the title of the record and the tunes that you did would be great right about
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. So yeah, it's do it my own way. I've been in this industry now for 10 years,
Yep,
and I came out of Berkeley
yep,
basically like with them saying like, hey, all the major record labels are failing. You've got to learn how to do everything. So you have to
Yeah.
have all the hats. You have to have the production hat. You have to have the songwriting hat. You have to have the marketing, business end. You have
Hmm.
to have it all. And so I've kind of set out my career of like, I don't always know what I'm doing, but I'm always willing to learn like how it is best to do things. And
Right.
so my own way is partly it's just a statement of how I've created and dug out this career for myself over the last 10 years. And it's also just like, coming in and thinking that the music business wasn't as antiquated as it actually is, the views on women are still pretty antiquated in that you're kind of still just this like I don't know, sex symbol kind of
Yeah,
thing. And
the
I just
objectification.
yeah,
I saw that in the notes from your PR person that
yeah,
and I had heard conversations from our mutual friends. I know we've just talked in passing a few times.
yes,
You're one of the few people in the business I haven't really taken time to chat with. But
yeah,
I had heard that, Vanessa, and it really broke my heart that was your experience in the industry.
yeah.
I will tell you that I think that in the 30 years I've been around the music, I grew up with the Trudy Lynn's, the Debbie Davies,
Yep,
Sue Foley's,
absolutely.
Luann Barton's, which I think
Powerhouse.
amazing people, Rory Block. I mean, amazing women who really set a bar very high for your
Absolutely.
generation.
Hmm.
But the number of young ladies in the business today are far more and
Yes.
they're doing very well. But I will say that whether they a certain percentage of them choose to go with that objectification image,
Hmm.
or if labels kind of push them in that direction,
Right.
uh, I'm a little disappointed in a handful of them
Sure.
because
Sure.
there's one or two where I feel like I go to their show and Uh, they could use some work on their vocals or their guitar playing and a little and toning down their look and look a little less like a stripper.
Sure. Sure.
Honestly, and they're getting like
Yeah.
high ticket prices for objectifying themselves.
Right.
And when you're a multi-talented person like yourself, doing the writing, the vocals, the guitar, the business, and you put your heart and soul into it, and then you see someone hike up their skirt and wear low cut dress, and they're getting $10 or more for their tickets.
Sure.
You have to be going, ugh. I mean, I know that's how I would feel for like my sister if she were in the business or what, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, or anybody, or
Sure.
even just you. I'd be like,
Yeah. 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 I mean, some people I never want to like, because some people feel comfortable in different things. I'm just one who I don't feel comfortable doing that. I
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
so that's my whole thing. And, I feel like if you're talented and you want to do that, that's all good. That's your thing. That's your decision. But I don't
I
think
think
that the
it's, yeah,
industry should be
yeah.
based on that.
No, no.
Your success as an artist shouldn't ever be based on what you wear on stage and what you look like
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
many dudes are gonna ogle you.
Right. And I think there's some girls that actually have struck a balance and they look
Sure,
kind of sexy and but they're proper and
sure.
they're stage ready. And I
Yeah,
think that that's normal as a performer, but
yeah,
there's a couple
yeah,
artists that go to an extreme in
sure.
our favored genre here that not naming names, this isn't
Yeah, yeah,
Watergate, but
yeah.
I think you can probably figure out who they are. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, and it's just crazy, and yeah, just there's enough said about that. But the tune that I wanted to talk about in particular, Rosetta. I always loved Sister Rosetta Tharpe. The first time I saw her American Folk Blues Festival
Mhm.
footage from Germany, which I think, thank God for the Germans being technical gurus. All that footage from the American Folk Blues Festival from Germany is like HD TV, but in black and white. It's
Yeah,
amazing,
totally.
you know.
Totally. Yeah.
Um, so how did you get turned on to like someone like Sister Rosetta Tharpe as a person as young as you are?
Yeah, so I had a couple touch points. Coming out of college, I was touring with Joe Louis Walker, and we did this
Nice.
festival, which is Tedeschi Trucks Festival in
Yeah.
Florida. So it was like 3 dates in 3 different cities. And for each of those dates, we were going on right after a band called the Wood Brothers. And
Yeah, I know Oliver really well.
I figured you would.
You know, back when he was with Tinsley Ellis, when he was just
See,
a
yeah, yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I got to see them play for 3 nights in a row. And I was just like in awe of, 3-part harmony vocals and just like this, what this trio can kind of do. And
Yeah.
they do Up Above My Head. And it became like one of my favorite songs. And for some reason, I don't know, I was listening through maybe like Restream where they do all the live shows and they
Hmm.
talked about Up Above My Head and Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And I was like, oh, that's not their tune. Like, I didn't know this, young, naive me. Um, and so I was like, okay, sister was at a Tharp, and I kind of start looking her up and whatever. And then at the same around the same time, I was visiting Laura in San Diego,
Hmm.
and she has Shout Sister Shout, the book about her, like on her coffee table.
Nice.
And I started reading it, and I was like, oh man, this is incredible. And she was like, you can take it. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to take your copy. So I found a copy, ordered it to my house. And then I
Hmm.
just read about her. And it was just like, oh my gosh, she was in an unmarked grave till like, 2013 or something. It's like
Really?
the
I didn't. No, I
years.
didn't know that.
Yeah, she was
That's
buried in Philly. Basically, I think it was Marie Knight didn't have, and like her husband took all her money. And
uh
I think Marie Knight didn't have enough money for the headstone. She just had
huh.
enough to like bury her.
Right.
Um, and so she was buried in Philly for like
Um,
20 or 30 years with no headstone, no marking, no nothing
hmm.
until finally like 2013. And people were like, what? We have to do this. So they
Yeah.
commissioned a headstone for her. But yeah, so I just kind of like started watching videos and just, you know, listening to the records and like her version of Up Above My Head's, reigns supreme for sure.
Ridiculous.
And
Yeah.
I mean, all those, they're incredible. She's such an incredible singer, player, like playing guitar like that at that point
Yeah.
have
To
an
see her with an
incredible.
SG just like ripping it up is just like
I know,
amazing.
right? Oh man, it's so cool. So yeah, she's been like one of my inspirations because she just kind of like she did so much in an industry where like it's not typical for women to play an instrument, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sing, but to play like she played and
Hmm.
just kind of do it coming out of the gospel world and all she had to do, building this huge career, being one of the big gospel stars. Like I just love her tenacity, you know? It's just like, I don't know
Hmm.
how you did it, but that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of great female artists. I always love the Big Mama Thornton stories that I hear. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the one where she had a gig in the same city as Janis Joplin one
Oh no,
night,
I haven't heard that one.
and Janis had taken credit for I think Hound Dog on a record,
Yeah.
and she finished up her gig, went down to the club, and Janis saw Mama coming to the stage, thinking she's fixing to sit in, and Big Mama cracked her in the mouth.
Dang.
Yep,
Okay.
like Big Mama gotta get paid, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Dang. Oh, man. What another powerhouse. I'm
yeah.
reading a book about her right now. So,
There's a great documentary if you haven't seen it called Gunsmoke Blues. Have you seen that?
okay. I have not seen that. Yeah.
You're probably too young to remember the show Gunsmoke. It was one of these Western shoot 'em up shows that I
Right.
watch like every week. And
Amazing.
apparently the guys on the film crew were blues fans. And they
Yeah.
taped obviously in Hollywood. And what they did is they packed up secretly the very expensive equipment from Gunsmoke. They stole it from the studio, put it in like a 15-person van, and put Big Mama Thornton, Muddy Waters, Big Joe Turner in the van for like a 3 or 4 day tour, and they
No
taped the live shows. And a lot of the shows are backed up by local, like white hippie bands who are into the
Yeah.
blues, like kind of
Yeah.
real rocking outfits, and then you Muddy looking back like in the blues kid. But you know. the footage is dynamite, and
Okay.
they
I'll check it
interview
out.
them while they're on the road in the van, and
Hmm.
you get a lot of insight about those great personalities. And Big Joe Turner, one of my favorites too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I
totally
love it.
recommend. Yeah, it's
Okay,
on
I'll look it
YouTube.
up.
YouTube's got it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, maybe I've seen clips already. I don't know, but I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah, yeah. So what other tunes? I mean, there's a lot of tunes on there. There's one that was kind of an ode to your younger sister, I think. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah, on a previous record I had written What Makes You Beautiful,
Yeah, yeah,
then which was one definitely aimed at my sisters, and then I have this new record, new song on the record called Wild as a Rainstorm.
yeah. Loved it.
And it's basically just a love song to the next generation coming behind me, right?
Yeah,
Like, so that includes my sisters.
right,
um
right,
and they were the ones I had in mind. But I also teach saxophone lessons, and so it's I think we everyone kind of gets so caught up in following what everyone else tells you to do, and that's
right,
true of saxophone. Like there's only one way to do things. It's true of math, where people are like, no, you can only solve this problem one way. It's true of like how you just go about living. There is
right,
no
right,
one right way. Everybody can live their lives however they want to live them. And for me, Wild as a Rainstorm is sort of like just be daring and courageous and wild like the rain, and
right,
just
right.
live your life however it happens,
You want to be Big J McNeely and be a bar walker? Go for it,
Exactly. Come on, go ahead.
baby.
Anything's a
You
possibility.
don't have to
So
be John Coltrane in all serious.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there's a place for everybody, and that's
Yeah,
like, there's this idea of scarcity, that there's not enough room for all of us, but like really, if you're yourself, your most genuine, true self, like the world will open doors for you. That's my belief anyway. So that's what
absolutely.
I'm trying to encourage the next generation to just do that. Just
That's
be.
really great. It's a good message for everybody, no matter what they do.
Yeah, totally, totally.
So that's
Yeah.
great. So you moved down south in the Carolinas, and you're
Yeah.
sounding like you're settled in and have some students down there, or are you teaching online or both?
Yeah, I'm teaching online right now.
Yeah.
I could teach out of my house, but I'm not home that often, so
Right,
I
right.
can be more consistent online than I can be in person.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, especially just most of my students are still in grade school, so if I have some adults, then they can kind of move schedules around. But kids are always in school Monday through Friday. You know what I mean? So
Hmm,
it's a
hmm.
little difficult, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Well,
all settled.
it's kind of good for your business that they've stripped public schools of their budget for music programs, but it's a sin.
Yeah, in one way it's good. In one way, sure, it should typically send people my way, but the other way is like, well, then there's really no interest in playing music. So
So
it
yeah,
kind of,
there's no exposure. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So they're like, wait, I can play an instrument? Wait, there are
yeah,
people that will teach me this? Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I was very fortunate. I grew up through like, and I didn't really realize how fortunate I was till I went to college. But, like I went to a high school in Maryland where we had jazz band every other day. We had a
Hmm.
piano class. We had a guitar class. We had band every single day.
Wow.
Um, and then we had a music tech program my last 2 years there. So we started learning about filters and backmasking and like all this stuff that I knew nothing about, but I
That's
was like, oh my
incredible.
gosh, this is so cool. So that when I entered at Berkeley my first year, I was like, they have a whole music production like degree. Let me see what this is about. So I
Hmm.
ended up dual majoring just because of that class. So like, yeah, I think it is a sin that all the doors aren't available to everyone. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. No, I mean, there's too few vocational tracks in
Yeah.
typical high schools in general. And I'm
Yep.
not talking about wood shop either, although I took
Yeah,
wood
yeah.
metal shop and small engines and
Yeah.
all that, and I took
Yeah.
home ec as well.
Yeah.
But that those days are so long gone, like I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't know why, but
no, I don't know. I mean, like if I had a kid today, I'd send him to the Voc Tech school and go
Yeah.
learn robotics or how to be a mechanic or an electrician
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
college
Those are
education's
skills.
so expensive.
Yes.
You went to Berkeley, you must know.
I do know. I do. It's great. Even with like the highest scholarship you could get, it's still
Yep.
expensive.
Well, Boston's just highway robbery. That's why I moved to Connecticut,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boston is crazy. So,
Although I do miss places like Wally's, my friend Jose Ramos. Do you ever
yeah.
go play with Jose when Noe was down there at Wally's?
No, it's funny. I was like so introverted. I
Yeah,
still am. Like
yeah,
I didn't go to I went to Wally's once in my
that's it.
4 years at Berkeley, and like that was pretty much the only time I played out other than like playing gigs. That was
Yeah,
it.
I never heard of you playing around town. I mean, I was in
Because I
town.
didn't.
Yeah,
That's I was way quiet. Like I just prefer I still don't like jams. I mean, like I love jams run by the California Honey Drops, but like in
right, right,
general, you're like standard jam. I'm like, oh man, like everybody's just playing the tune they know. They're not making music. Like the whole point is to make music with people that you don't
right,
know.
right.
So why don't we pick a tune that nobody knows and just like jam? That's what I like. Just where everybody has a space to kind of fit in rather than the ego thing. But that's me.
The one good thing about, Boston and Berkeley is that there are a few places like Wally's for students to go out and
Yeah.
get on a stage because
Yeah.
there's no substitute for stage time to get your sea
Yeah.
legs before you go out
Absolutely.
on tour.
Yeah.
You know, have your audience out there going, I'm drunk and obnoxious and go ahead
Yeah.
and try to perform.
Yeah, you got to learn through all the things. It's great.
Not that that ever happens.
No, no,
Never.
no. We were on a gig, I think it was like 2 years ago. It was like, I think it was up in Canada. We're up on stage. It's like the first song in, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I see two people drag this guy by his arms,
Oh
just
my.
like dragging him across the floor and out the door. Because he was just so drunk already,
Yep.
like we were
Yep.
first band, and I think there was another one after us, but he was just like gone, like passed out,
Right
gone.
on. Right on.
Like trying to sing, watching this guy go across. It's hilarious.
No, and blues clubs don't have any security to speak of. I mean, I
Yeah,
booked this little girl, Sarah Grace, into Chan's one
yeah,
night. She had been on The Voice on NBC, and
yeah.
I put her, on a little tour through New England, and Woonsocket's a little sketchy, and some lady was harassing her, like,
Mm.
about, having been on The Voice, and where's your coach from The Voice, who, and this and that, and
Yeah, yeah,
she's sitting in, and I'm like, lady, she's 16, leave her alone,
yeah.
and John was too afraid to throw the
Say
lady
something.
out, so I kind of had to like
Oh,
bounce the play because I mean, this woman was ready to get on stage. I mean, she was in this poor little kid's face at
yikes.
16. I was like,
Yeah,
come on now,
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
And
Sometimes
that's not the
decorum.
typical though, but it's just,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
hopefully it's not.
No, it's not the typical.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I dig
anyway,
it.
I digress. Just made me
Yeah.
think of that. So what else? Now you're on the road a lot, but when you are home in the Carolinas, did I hear you say you're near your mom now down there?
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
couple streets over from my mom.
Oh
So
wow, that close. That's awesome.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
not.
yeah. That would, oh, it's great. My mom's like the best. She's my best friend and
Yeah.
always been my biggest supporter. Like, man,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for any time that I get with my mom, which right now she's working like, oh man, she works crazy hours
Yeah.
and then runs my three sisters like everywhere. It's like, yeah, if I get to hug my mom once a week, I'm happy.
Yeah. See, at your age, and my mom, if she lived that close, she'd be over like a couple times a week going, how come you haven't found a nice girl? And if you have one, she doesn't come around. And
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh God, you got to keep a couple things on the DL.
Yeah, yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
But
Yeah.
no, that's nice to have family around. That's cool.
Yeah. My mom's great. My sisters are blooming into some really beautiful people, so
That is
I'm
nice
so
to
very
see.
blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Any of them interested in music like you or not?
I think the youngest is interested in musical theater
Nice.
and she is a Hellcat. So I swear, if she wants to do it, it's gonna get done.
Yep.
I'm here for it, but She can sing, she loves to act, all the things. So we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Yeah.
So summer's always a big time for touring. Any big festivals or shows that you want to highlight while we're chatting?
Um, yeah, I have to keep my schedule in my head, but I know we're headed overseas. We're doing a Spain run, we're doing a Sweden tour, we're doing Michigan, a festival in Kalamazoo. Yeah, like my head right now is in this May. It's like,
Well, yeah,
this next one
I'll
is
leave links
amazing.
to all your whole
I'm
schedule.
excited to get back to the Cape. That's like one of my favorite venues to play. It's
It's a
good audience,
really great room.
always a great audience, great room, great production, like team. They're always amazing and on
Audience
it.
buys merch. We like that.
Yeah, we do like that.
Yeah, yeah.
We appreciate that in these times.
It's
So,
funny how certain, I mean, you go to certain venues
yeah,
and people tend to buy merch there, and it's really
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
yeah. We like it. You gotta eat.
Yeah.
Gotta eat.
I feel very much like that area. Massachusetts can be this way too. But definitely at the Cape, like people understand how to support an artist,
Yeah,
like it's tough anymore. You don't make money off of the physical recordings. Nobody can buy a CD because they don't have CD players. So then it's all the downloads or the streams,
right.
or vinyl. Like now I have a vinyl, so there's that. But the best way is just to support the artist in the moment, like right there, whatever, buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, buy
Yep, yep.
something, or buy directly from their website, because it just cuts out a bunch of the middleman. And it seems like people at the Cape kind of understand that. And, people up in Massachusetts, good
Yep.
supporters of this music. They tend to. So
It's funny you mentioned that because about 20 years ago, the Blues Foundation actually did a study to help artists,
yeah,
and they determined that the Northeast megapolis, if you will, was the place where you had the most like affluent people who were into jazz and blues,
yeah,
um, who supported venues that play this kind of music,
yep.
and that uh, if you were going to concentrate on one part of the country to tour, that would be
Northeast.
it. And then
Yeah,
I would say, since they've done that study, um, that scene in Florida for the cold months has
yeah.
really exploded
Oh yeah,
big
yeah.
way in the last 10 or 15 years.
That's
So
awesome.
I
Yeah,
think geographically you're in a marvelous spot, like
yeah,
to jump in the van and like
yeah.
do the whole the Northeast and the
Totally.
Southeast and um
Yeah,
because you go out and you play like Iowa and Nebraska and like that's great. You can go to some place, but then the next place is 500 miles,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and you're burning a lot of gas at $3 a gallon or
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally.
so. Anyway,
Yeah, it's nice the Northeast. They're all bunched together and the radius clauses aren't crazy. So yeah.
yep, yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, good. We're excited to see you. 2 nights in Lima, New York, or actually 3 nights.
3 nights. Yeah. We
Yeah.
start tonight. Yeah.
So that's starting tonight, and then go to Plattsburgh, and
Yep.
hopefully the kids from SUNY Plattsburgh come out, get
I
some
hope
young,
so.
and
Yeah.
then 443 social in my old stomping grounds in Syracuse for 2 nights, and
Cute.
then here to Old Saybrook. Uh, yeah, my friend Meg in Bywater Call was telling me that 443 was Bywater Call's first venue. In the US, and they absolutely love the
Oh,
place. The
wow.
fans are really
Yeah.
responsive there. Have you played that room
Yeah.
yet, or is this your first time in?
No, I have sold out that room 17 times. This would be
Nice.
18, 19, I think. So yeah, we've
Cool.
been, we've been we've been staples now. I feel like they come up on stage and they're like, "You're an honorary Syracusean." I'm like, perfect. Like I'm ready. Where do I move? Like
Right, right. And then
so
take you to
yeah, I
Hyde's
love
hot
that place.
dogs and like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that place. Julie, who runs it, it's cool to have a woman run venue as well. There are few and far
nice.
between. And she does a great job of booking the place, and she gets all sorts of talent in there, and we feel very taken care of. So, yeah,
That means all the world when you're like on the road for days at a time to actually have a
Absolutely.
venue like feed you decent, give you a
Yeah.
clean place to change and
Yeah.
relax,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then,
Absolutely.
actually pay you at the end of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You just
You
don't
got
know
it.
where the money from the door went.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I have so many stories when you and I sit
Oh, I
down
can
and
only
have a chat.
imagine.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah,
We got to chat some more in person. Sounded like the only
absolutely.
one we haven't really had a lengthy conversation. So,
No, no, that'd be good. Well, maybe I can come down to the Kate a little before showtime after you've done
yeah,
sound check and we can chill or something.
for sure. That sounds good.
I should let you go and get to work for the day. How's that sound?
That sounds good. My dogs are itching to go outside, so
Oh, good, good. And I gotta get out and do some gardening myself. It's a beautiful day.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we'll enjoy it. I look
All
forward to seeing you
right.
in a couple
All right.
days.
Me too. All right, Vanessa. Be safe
All
on the
right.
road. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.